Hi, this is Haji, and welcome to Demeter Pharma. Now, guys, our topic for today's lecture will be circumstances affecting criminal liability. Okay, so let's start. Okay, guys, there are 5 circumstances affecting criminal liability, and you must know what these 5 wholeheartedly. Okay? So, ano ba yun? First is justifying circumstances, exempting circumstances, mitigating circumstances, aggravating circumstances, and alternative circumstances. Now, the acronym for this will be GEMAA. Okay? Justifying, exempting, mitigating, aggravating, and the alternative. Okay. Now, aside from these two, in the revised penal code, there are 2 circumstances that affect criminal liability, which acts as like the same with the previously mentioned circumstances. Okay, first is the absolutory cause and the extenuating circumstances. An absolutory cause is defined as the effect of an exempting as okay. The absolutory cause has the effect of an exempting circumstance, and it is predicated on lack of voluntariness such as instigation. Samantala naman, also, in addition, are these extenuating circumstance. Ito naman guys, has the effect of mitigating the criminal liability of the offender. Okay? So, what are the examples of these absolutory causes? Guys, accessory is a relative of the principal. Meaning, ano, dahil accessory sa crime ang principal and his relative is an accessory in the crime of theft or pinatakas mo, the accessory guys, the relative is already exempted from criminal liability. Second example is discovering secrets through seizure of correspondence of ward by their guardian. Naturally guys, bawal ang magbukas ng sulat ng may sulat. Pero pag yung sulat mo nabuksan ni mami mo or ni tita mo, malamang hindi mo pwedeng kasuhan yan kasi they are exempted by law. Okay? Pangatlo, when only slight or less serious physical injuries are inflicted by the person who surprised his or her spouse or daughter in the act of sexual intercourse with another person. Ito guys, yung nahuli kayo ni mami mo or ni daddy mo na nakikipaglandian or nakikipag-sex, actual sex sa loob ng bahay nyo. Okay? So, your spouse or your father may kill, hindi kill eh. Kasi sabi dito, slight or less serious physical injuries lamang. It's either na nabugbog, nasobrahan sa bugbog, pero hindi siya serious physical injuries. Pag na-fracture siya, nabalian yung boyfriend mo, hindi na siya, hindi na exempted yung tatay mo sa sa crime of serious physical injuries. Ang sinasabi dito is slight or less serious physical injuries. Same with those spouse na mahuli yung kabit ng asawa niya or yung asawa niya mismo na nakikipag-sex sa loob ng bahay nila. Okay? Guys, dito sa Article 247, which we will discuss in the future, ang penalty dito ay distero. Kung mapatay ng spouse or ng tatay mo yung boyfriend mo, kadalasan ito yung nangyaring may nagkakaroon ng pag panloloko sa mga mag-asawa. Okay? So, that's it. It is an absolutory cause for injuries which are only less serious or slight. Okay? Next. In a crime of theft, swindling, or malicious mischief committed against a relative. Okay? Alangan man guys, kasuhan mo si mami mo or si mami mo inistafa ng anak mo, yung anak niya inistafa. Ikaw na anak, inistafa mo si mami mo, hindi mo sinole yung sukli ng pang-shopping, yun. Or kinupitan mo sa yung pang-shopping niya, kumuha ka ng pera sa wallet niya, that's theft. Okay? Next is marriage of the offender with the offended party in the crime of rape, abduction, seduction, or acts of lasciviousness. Guys, in these crimes, pag nagpakasal biktima at yung akusado, it has the effect of abolishing the offense charge. Okay? Siyempre, nagpakasal lang eh. So, what's the use of prosecuting these cases kung wala na yung nagre-reklamo? Okay? Next, adultery and concubinage if the offended party shall have consented or pardoned the offenders. Pag nagkapatawaran yung mga mag-asawa, syempre guys, umatras na yung nagkakaso, wala nang kaso. Okay? Next. Instigation. We will discuss this shortly. And trespass to dwelling for the purpose of rendering some service to humanity or justice or what? To prevent some serious harm to himself. Okay. Ito guys yung example which is nangyari pa lang last 2 weeks ago nung bumaha sa Marikina and parts of Laguna and parts of Cagayan. Yung mga tao guys na naka first floor lang pumunta na sa bahay ng kapitbahay nila na may third floor, na may second floor. Kahit hindi sila pinapayagan, in order to save their own lives, ay nagpumilit sila na akyatin ang bahay at pasukin yung bahay na yon in order to save themselves and their children. So, yung mga rich people na gusto magreklamo, they cannot file a case for a criminal case for trespassing since under Article 280, these persons are exempted from criminal liability under the absolutory causes. Okay? Clear yan, guys. Next. Now, instigation and entrapment. Ganito. Para ito sa mga police officers natin at sa mga akusado. Okay. In instigation, the criminal plan or design exists in the mind of the law enforcer with whom the person instigated cooperated. So it is said that the person instigated is acting only as a mere instrument or tool of the law enforcer in the performance of duties. And entrapment, a criminal design is already in the mind of the person entrapped. It did not emancipate from the mind of the law enforcer entrapping him, and it involves only ways and means which are laid down or resorted to facilitate the apprehension of the culprit. Okay. Example ng instigation or entrapment. In the buy-bust operation of illegal drugs, wherein the pusher buyer, who is a member of the PNP or PDEA, and makes an operation. Kadalasan yung mga legal na operasyon, entrapment yan. Bakit? Yung pusher buyer is a member of the PNP or the PDEA, and the seller of the drug is the accused. Okay? The seller of the drug is the accused. Now, paano siya? The seller of the drug is really a drug pusher or drug lord. Okay? Now, paano siya nagiging instigation? Guys, if in order makahuli etong mga illegalista, etong mga police officers or PDEA members, para makahuli, para meron silang accomplishment, ay gumagawa ng mga kabulastugan. Ano yung ginagawa nila? Binibentahan nila or hinuhulibay nila ang etong mga drug user at ginagawa nila itong buy-bust operation. Kumaga hulibay. Okay? So, with that, if it is an instigation, the criminal, the accused is instigated to what? To buy, to commit the crime of illegal possession of drugs. The criminal mind is not with the accused, but the criminal plan or design exists in the mind of the law enforcer. And if it is proven that it is instigation, there was planting of evidence, absuelto po ang akusado. Okay? However, if it is a duly recognized and a real entrapment operation or drug buy-bust operation in which the accused is really a drug pusher or a drug seller, guys, sigurado po, entrapment po ang nangyari and makukulong po yung akusado. Okay? Gets nyo? Gets nyo? Okay? Why? Because in instigation, there is lack of criminal intent as an element of voluntariness. Okay? There is no criminal intent on the part of the accused or the buyer. Okay. Article 11, justifying circumstances. Okay. This topic, Article 11, importante ito, guys. Okay? So, sit back. Okay? First, you should understand and memorize are the three elements. Okay? First, una, a person who acts in defense of his person or rights, provided the following concur. First, unlawful aggression. B, reasonable necessity of the means employed to repel it. And lack of sufficient provocation on the part of the person defending himself. The very important element in self-defense is the first element, unlawful aggression. Okay? Without unlawful aggression, even if there is reasonable necessity of the means employed to repel it and lack of sufficient provocation, wala pong self-defense. There must be unlawful aggression on the part of the what? On the part of the accused. No. On the part of the victim. Kasi in this case, the one who pleads self-defense is the accused. Okay? What are the self-defense? What does self-defense include? Siyempre, yung defense of person, defense of rights protected by law, and defense of property. Siyempre, pag sinisira yung sasakyan mo, malamang sa malamang, ididepensa mo yung sasakyan mo. Mahal yung pintura niyan, di ba? Okay. So, and lastly, my favorite is defense of chastity. So, yun. In unlawful aggression, guys, it is a physical act manifesting danger to life or limb. It is either actual or imminent. And aggression must be unlawful. Ibig sabihin, guys, and if a police officer acts, shoots you, it is in the performance of his duty, and the aggression is lawful. Okay? So, paano ba nagiging unlawful ang aggression? Pag ang umaatake sa iyo or ang nananakit sa iyo ay walang karapatan. Okay? Take for example, guys, in a case of demolition of property, wherein the sheriff has the power to demolish upon issuance of the judge of an order to demolish the property. So, merong mga nagdi-demolish diyan. So, kung sasabihin mo sa akin na, sir, allowed ba kami na idepensa ang aming property? Take note, the aggression must be unlawful at the outset. Dito, ang aggression, kung yung mga taong magde-demolish ng bahay mo, the aggression there, the act of destroying the property is lawful because it is by virtue of a lawful order of a judge. Okay? If you want to question the demolition order, take your case to the court and not physically by what? By actually killing or injuring or laying a hand on the persons who will demolish your house. Okay? Clear yan, guys. Now, okay? Next. Ano ba yung actual or real aggression from imminent unlawful aggression? Sa actual real aggression presupposes an act positively strong showing the wrongful intent of the aggressor, which is not merely threatening or intimidating but a material attack. Simple, binaril ka, tinaga ka, sinuntok ka. That is actual aggression. How about imminent unlawful aggression? It is an attack that is impending or on the point of happening. Babariling ka pa lang. Tatagain ka pa lang. Okay? So, bago ka mabaril, unahan mo na. Bago ka mataga, tumakbo ka na. Or bago ka mataga, tagain mo na rin. Or saksakin mo na rin. As the case may be. Okay? So, the law does not require you to be hit first before you can defend yourself. Okay? That is why you should prove, since this self-defense is a defense of the accused, you should prove the one who raises this defense, sila yung nauuna mag-present ng ebidensya sa court. May reverse trial na nangyayari. Okay, guys? So, that's it. That's the rule between actual and imminent unlawful aggression. We proceed. How about retaliation vis-a-vis self-defense? When does retaliation occur? Retaliation is different from the act of self-defense. In retaliation, okay, the aggression that was begun by the injured party already ceased to exist when the accused attacked him. In self-defense, the aggression was still existing when the aggressor was injured or disabled by the person making a defense. Let me give you guys an example. In self-defense, first, knife fight, okay? Sundang, tabak, balisong, okay? A slash B, okay? So, nasugatan si B. So, A is continuously attacking B. But when at the outset of at the course of the attack, B was able to get a bat, a metal bat. And isang hampas niya kay A na sumasaksak sa kanya, bang! Patay si A. Isang hampas sa ulo ng metal bat, patay si A. That is the action of B in killing A by using a metal bat in defense of himself is self-defense. Sir, how about retaliation? In retaliation, A slash B then stops. Okay? A slash B then stops. Now, B got a metal bat, and in revenge of the action of A, strike the head of A and was able to kill him. Okay? In that case, in retaliation, the aggression already ceased to exist. Tapos na. Take note ha. A slash B then stops. For one reason or another, maybe tinawag siya ng girlfriend niya, A, tama na. So, okay na. Tapos na. He stops. The attack ceased to exist. Then, B, in revenge of the action from A, strike, was able to get a metal bat, was able to, and then killed A by striking his head. Okay? So, the actual physical force and the use of a weapon is also considered here in self-defense. So, pag nagse-self-defense ka, guys, yung balik mo, yung action mo is not measured. Okay? As long as you fear for your life and the attack is continuing, you can do something to defend yourself. Now we go to the second requisite, that is reasonable necessity of the means employed to prevent or repel it. Okay? So, in number 2, it contemplates two situations that may arise while the aggression is taking place. First is to repel an actual aggression. The second is to prevent an imminent or impending aggression. So, in the same case, A, reasonable necessity to repel an actual aggression. A is attacking B, by using a knife. Then B was able to get a metal bat to repel an actual aggression. Bang! Binira niya sa ulo, si A. The aggression was stopped. Does B need to continuously smash the head of A? The answer is no more. The first is to repel. The second is to prevent. Can A stop attacking B? Because B now has a weapon which is bigger than A. Guys, this is a case-to-case basis. As long as the defense was able to prove that the killing of A is necessary to prevent an imminent or impending aggression to kill B, tuloy ang laban. Okay? Next. Okay. Also, it means we're used to prevent or to repel. Okay? Nasabi ko na yon kanina. And means must be reasonable. It is depending on the circumstances, but generally proportionate to the force of the aggressor. Okay. May bata. Magnanakaw. Ninakaw ngayon yung bata, 17 anyos, payat. Ninakaw ngayon yung baril ng isang sundalo na off-duty. So, ginawa niya, sinuntok niya sa balikat, tapos sabay kuha ng baril na nakasukbit. Anong ginawa ng sundalo? To prevent the act is sinuntok niya ngayon yung magnanakaw. Okay? Hindi naagaw yung baril niya. There, it stopped. What happened next is the thief ran away. Pero this time, take note the thief is running away. Now the soldier, because of rage, because of his training, or whatever, he got his service firearm, shoots the thief. And now he is dead. Is self-defense available? The answer is no. Unlawful aggression? Yes. Reasonable means of necessity, reasonable necessity, the means employed to prevent or repel it. He already repelled the attack. Ang tanong, kailangan niya pa bang barilin? The answer is no. Kailangan niya pa bang patayin? The answer is no. But if he was able to prove that his life is in danger, maybe because the thief has friends. Sige, reasonable yung pagpatay. Okay? Para to repel an additional attack on his life. Tsaka, a soldier is allowed to carry a gun. So, yun. He is a peace officer. So, it is a case-to-case basis, but in this case, if I were to handle a situation, I will grant the self-defense on the part of the soldier. Okay? Next. Okay. Here's the test of reasonableness. in self-defense. Number 2, whether or not the means employed is reasonable will depend upon the nature, the quality of the weapon used by the aggressor, his physical condition, character, size, and other circumstances, and those of the person defending himself, and also the place of the occasion of the assault. Is self-defense allowed between a grown man and a child? And the grown man is invoking self-defense, mas malaki siya sa bata? The answer is no. He killed the child. Kahit sabihin natin self-defense po yun kasi binatukan ako ng bata. Mali yun. Okay? Next. And lastly, lack of sufficient provocation on the part of the person defending himself. For provocation to be considered serious by the court, the degree must be sufficient and must at all times be immediate to the unlawful aggression. So, the person who defended himself did not provoke, or even if provoked, the provocation is insufficient. Okay? So, it is sufficient if it should be proportionate to the act of aggression and adequate to steer the aggressor to its commission. Let's say, minura, inalipusta, what's this? Ininsulto. That is sufficient provocation. So, and lastly, it's sufficient provocation not given by the, ulitin ko sufficient provocation is not given by the person defending himself. That is self-defense. Okay. Next, what are the kinds of self-defense? Siyempre, yung self-defense of chastity. So, pag may rape case, mere imminence, the victim can kill, can thwart an attack, can do anything because of the defense of his chastity. The honor of a woman in respect of her defense is equated with her virginity. Okay? So, now we go to the defense of relative. Okay, guys. Sa defense of relative, importante yung first two. Unlawful aggression and reasonable necessity of the means employed to prevent or repel the attack. But here, kasi nga, defense of relative, in case provocation was given by the person attacked, that the person making the defense had no part in such provocation. Take note that in defense of relative, the lack of sufficient provocation on the part of the person defending himself, iba. Okay? Even if there is provocation on the part of the relative, the person making the defense had no part on such provocation. Example, tatay mo, binubugbog ng kapitbahay mo. Pagdating mo, kumuha ka ng what's this? Kumuha ka ng 2x2 at tinira mo yung ulo ng bumubugbog sa tatay mo. The attack stop. Are you liable for it? And you killed the kapitbahay kasi tinira mo naman sa ulo. So, even if yung tatay mo yung maoy or yung lasinggero and had given sufficient provocation, kakarating mo lang, you don't have any part at all in such provocation. So in that case, even if you kill the person who is hitting your father, defense of relative is allowed. So, sino silang mga relative na to? Spouse, asawa mo, ascendants, descendants, legitimate brothers or sisters, and relatives by consanguinity within the fourth civil degree. Okay? Yan po yung relative. Hanggang fourth civil degree only. Okay? So, lastly, dito sa self-defense, ay yung defense of stranger. Let us say, naglalakad ka along Rizal Street at pauwi ka, may binubugbog sa harapan mo. So, immediately, kumuha ka ng kahoy at pinalo mo sa ulo yung bumubugbog sa isang tao na nakahiga. Eksakto namatay yung taong yung nambubugbog. So take note guys, dito sa defense of a stranger, the person, the third element again, the person defending be not induced by revenge, resentment, or other evil motive. Even if kakilala mo yung bumubugbog, hindi yun dahil galit ka sa taong yun or any other evil motive and panahon na para makaganti ka. So, if you need to defend a stranger, it should not be because of revenge, resentment, or other evil motive. Okay? So, take note of the third the third element, because in our exam, sa third element, madaming tanong. Okay? Okay. We proceed. State of necessity. What is this justifying circumstance? Guys, any person who, in order to avoid an evil or injury, does an act which causes damage to another with three requisites. Okay? First, that the evil sought to be avoided actually exists. Second, that the injury feared be greater than that done to avoid it. And third, that there be no other practical and less harmful means of preventing it. Okay, I will give you two examples on this justifying circumstance. First, in order to save yourself from an accident kung saan, okay, A is driving a car, normally driving a car, not hindi speed, walang speed, mabagal yung patakbo niya. Then here comes a 10-wheeler truck na rumaraga sa papunta sa kanya. So, ngayon, itong si A, who is dutifully driving his car, in order to save himself from sure death, chooses to swerve on the right side and bump an old lady, an old passerby na andun nakatambay. So, in that incident, is A justified in killing the old lady? The answer is yes. Paano natin to guys malalaman? You just follow the three requisites. That the evil sought to be avoided actually exists? Yes. Your death, the death of A, actually exists. If not, hindi siya nag-swerve. If hindi siya nag-swerve dun sa right side at nabangga niya yung matandang babae, mamatay siya. Second, that the injury feared be greater than that done to avoid it? Of course. Okay? And third, there be no other practical and less harmful means. Wala na. So, the example is a shoot sa let's say sa justifying circumstance na to. Okay? So, take note that the driver here, A, is not negligent. Okay? Kung negligent siya, kung nagpapatakbo din siya ng mabilis at wala siyang rehistro, wala siyang um, hindi siya registered driver, aba, hindi ito state of necessity. Because in order for someone to invoke state of necessity, kailangan allowable and lawful yung action mo. Okay? Otherwise, it's plain reckless imprudence resulting to homicide. Okay? The next example is when a fetus is aborted, intentionally aborted in order to save the mother's life. Okay? Kung hindi patayin yung bata, kung hindi expel kusa yung bata sa sinapupunan, mamamatay yung nanay. So in these cases, pinapapili usually yung asawa or yung tatay nung mother. Okay? Kung early pregnancy. So if in this case intentional abortion is not there is no intentional abortion because of the doctrine on state of necessity. Okay? Maliwanag, guys. Now we go to the next justifying circumstance. The fulfillment of a duty or lawful exercise of a right or office. Okay? Ang una muna is the Okay. The fulfillment of duty or lawful exercise of a right of office has two requisites. The first requisite is that the accused acted in the performance of a duty or in the lawful exercise of a right or office. And second, that the injury caused or the offense committed be the necessary consequence of the due performance of duty or the lawful exercise of such right. Guys, ang example nito nakadalasan ay yung mga police officers. If someone was injured, if someone was killed, the action of the police officer to kill or to injure a prisoner or a convict or a suspect during an encounter is in the fulfillment of duty or lawful exercise of a right or office. Any injury from that sustained by the what's this? By the accused. No. Any injury sustained by the suspect or the victim is justified. Okay? Because the Philippine National Police or the Army has a right and duty to protect the safety and welfare of the community as well as to protect the sovereignty of this country. Okay? So, that's it. That's for the fulfillment of duty or lawful exercise of a right of or office. The next justifying circumstance is obedience to a superior order. Okay, guys. Madali lang to. In the obedience to a superior order, ang kailangan nyo lang tandaan dito is that if the order is legal and it is for a legal purpose, and the means used to carry out said order is lawful. If your superior, this applies to again to members of the police. If the order by the commanding officer is lawful, like in the case of the landmark case of People versus Uwanes, wherein the chief of police ordered his men to open fire to the sleeping suspect, and it turned to be that that suspect is not the wanted that they're searching for. Unang-una, is the order for a legal purpose? No, it is not. The means used to carry out said order is lawful without identifying the person who they are about to shoot. That is illegal, and without any provocation from from the person that is sleeping, and without any probable cause, that is illegal. So in People versus Owanes, the the private the non-officer there who obeyed a superior order is still liable for murder, for killing the person who turned out to be an innocent one. Okay? So madali lang itong obedience to a superior order. And that, my friends, are the justifying circumstances under the revised penal code. So guys, if you like my discussion on justifying circumstance, please don't hesitate to subscribe and like this video, and press the like button, and press also the bell button, so that you can be informed of our future episodes. So once again, this is Attorney Haji, and always remember, here at Demeter Pharma, we make your learning our number one priority. Thank you, and God bless.